Okay, so what is the difference between thick brows and full brows, and which one should be your brow goals? Okay, so this is a question that I actually came up with, and honestly, it's not a question that I get in my studio with clients. But usually what I get is I want thick brows, and I take this opportunity to educate my clients on whether or not thickness is something that should be a goal of theirs or if it should be fullness. So let me explain the two. So with thick brows is genetic. Okay, we are born with that. That's a part of our DNA. Thickness has to do with the actual circumference and diameter of the actual hair shaft. Okay, so sometimes we have a really big hair. Some of us have really big hair shafts, and some of us have really tiny, more so finer hair shafts. I'm not going to use the word thin because thin has a negative connotation to it. Fineness has to do with just how big or small the diameter of your hair shaft is. And some people are born with bigger hair shafts. That makes a thicker hair. And usually because of that, the hair follicles it looks as if the hair follicles are growing closer together. So there's usually more density in the brows when you see people with thick brows. Just think about the hair on the head. If you have someone who has, very thick hair, the actual hair itself, the strand of hair itself is thick, and it's usually densely packed. And that is where you have a client who has thick hair. That is thickness. Thickness, I can't do anything about how thick your brows are or how fine your brows are. But what I can do is make sure that your brows are full. So here's the difference. With fullness, that means that every part of the brow that needs to have hair in order to create the structure that we're looking for is filled. Okay, so when I do a consultation, I mark off the brows, I show my client where their hairs need to grow, where the area of growths are, what we're going to take away, what we're going to leave, and so forth. And fullness means that everywhere that I say you need hair here in order for this shape to happen, you have hair there. It doesn't have to be a thicker hair, it doesn't have to be a lot of hairs, it just needs to be hair there. So when you're looking at the brows, oftentimes people feel as though, oh yes, I need to have very dense brows. Not really. Oftentimes when I tell people about the fullness of the brows, or when I say, oh, you have hair where you need to have hair, I kind of give an analogy of connect the dots. So if you have a shape that has dots and you draw a line and connect all those dots, eventually you'll see the shape of the object. Now, it makes the object look a little bit more appealing when you fill it in, maybe. Yes, but at the end of the day, once you connect those dots, you see the shape. And that's the same thing that happens with the eyebrows. If we have just enough hairs to create the shape and to make sure that, those dots are connected and those areas are filled in, then that is a full brow. That's what we're looking for. You can have a full brow with very fine hairs, and it looks much better than a client who has thick hairs but not full brows. It's a big difference. So the goal that you should be striving for when it comes to fullness versus thickness is definitely fullness. Every brow can be full, but every brow may not be thick. Let me say that again, and let me swap it. Every brow may not be thick, and every brow probably can't be thick, but every brow can and should be full. Strive for fullness. So if you have any other questions or any FAQs that you want me to answer, leave them down below and I'll make feature them in an upcoming FAQ video. Until then, have a great brow day. Bye.